Okay guys, this is going to be your corrections video for the two-step equations and inequalities test corrections. This should look very familiar to you because this is the exact same form that we used for your rational number operations test corrections. The only changes this time is that I went ahead and copy and pasted the question into each slide. So you just have to, when I release the score to you guys on your Google form for the test, you're going to go to view score, and then it will tell you exactly the ones that you missed. You will watch the video that I am going to make, or that I'm making currently, and go over what should be the correct answer, and then you will identify what your mistake was and what you should have done differently, okay? And then you have to you only have to make corrections for the ones that you got incorrect. The rest of them, you just move the X to correct and move on, okay? The other thing is that I am going to give everybody the opportunity to do corrections, but especially if you made less than an 80, you need to take the time out to watch this video and complete these corrections so you can earn some credit back, okay? So let's look at our test. If you have any questions about the form or filling out anything on this, you can let me know during class time, but this should look familiar because we did the exact same thing last time, okay? Let's look at these questions. So I just went and printed out the form, so it might look a little different. Pay attention to these numbers. So for number 1, what value of x makes the equation 3x minus 6 equals 9 true? All right, so we are just going to solve this equation. 3x minus 6 equals 9, okay? 6 is my constant, so I am going to add 6 to both sides of my equation. There's a 0 pair. That would give me 3x is equal to, well, 9 plus 6 is 15. So I have 3x is equal to 15. This is multiplication. Remember, I'm trying to isolate this variable by itself. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide each side by 3. This will give me x by itself, and x equals 15 divided by 3 is 5. Okay, so your answer for this one should be C. All right, again, only pay attention to this number. All right, so for number 2, we're going to do the exact same thing. What is the solution to the equation shown below? Okay. X divided by negative 4 minus 8 is equal to negative 16. So 8 is my constant, so I'm going to do my inverse operation, and I'm going to add 8 to both sides. So I'm going to have x over negative 4 is equal to a negative 16 and a positive 8. When I combine them, will be a negative 8. Remember our scoreboard, positives and negatives. Negatives have 16, positives have 8. The negatives win by how many? 16 minus 8 is 8. So that's where the negative 8 came from. Okay, oops, sorry. My positives, my negatives, negative 16, positives 8. Find the difference. This guy would have, the negatives 1. Okay, so we are going to multiply each side by negative 4. Because we are trying to get x by itself, and the inverse operation of division is multiplication. This would give me x is equal to negative 8 times negative 4 is going to give me a positive 32. So x should equal 32, which was C. All right, let's look at number 3. What is the solution for 4x minus 18 is greater than or equal to 10? So I'm going to rewrite this. 4x minus 18 is greater than or equal to 10. Okay, 18 is my constant, so I'm going to add 18 to both sides of my inequality. This is a 0 pair, so now I will have 4x is greater than or equal to 28. Okay, now I have multiplication, so I'm going to undo that with division. X is greater than or equal to 28 divided by 4, which is 7. X is greater than or equal to 7, which is A. All right. Number 4, what is the solution to 1.4x plus 2 is equal to 23? Okay, so in this case, 2 is my constant, so I'm going to subtract 2 on both sides. That'll leave me with 1.4x is equal to 23 minus 20, or 23 minus 2 is 21. So I have 1.4x is equal to 21. This is a multiplication problem, it's implied. So I am going to divide each side by 1.4. Okay. Some of us had a hard time with setting up this problem. So if I'm doing 21 divided by 1.4, 21 would go inside, 1.4 is my divisor, it would go outside. I have to move my decimal over one place, which means I have to do the same thing on the inside. So now, when I rewrite this, I have 210 divided by 14, okay? And if we did the division, it would be 15. X is equal to 15. All right, let's look at number 5. For number 5, Sasha is signing her daughter up for dance class. Oh, sorry. Sasha is signing her daughter up for dance classes. There is a one-time costume fee of $35, and each class costs $15. If Tasha paid a total of $155, how many classes did she sign up for? Okay. So I am looking for the number of classes. That's what I need to know. Okay? I know that there's a one-time initial fee of $35. I know that there is a total of $155. And then I know that each class costs $15. So $15 is the cost per class. There's where my variable is going to be. So I'm going to take all of this information and I'm going to make it into an equation just like we practiced in class. So we would have 15x plus the initial value of 35 is equal to my total of 155. Okay, then I'm going to solve. 35 is my constant, so I'm going to subtract 35 from both sides. I would have 15x is equal to 120. I'm going to divide each side by 15. And x would be equal to 8. She can afford 8 classes because 120 divided by 15 is 8. And I can check that by saying 15 times 8 is 120. So she could pay for 8 classes, B. For number 6, we have another equation that we're going to solve. So we have 2/3 of s plus 16 is equal to negative 12. 16 is my constant, so I'm going to undo that with my inverse operation, which is subtraction. And I would have 2/3 of s is equal to a negative 28. Okay. This is multiplication, so I need to divide by 2/3, and then I need to divide over here by 2/3. Okay. This is going to give me s by itself. I know that I can make any number of fraction by putting it over 1, so I'm going to put 28 over 1. And remember, when I divide fractions, I'm really multiplying by the reciprocal. And the reciprocal of 2/3 is 3/2. Okay? Then I can multiply this way and multiply this way. 28 times 3 is negative 84. And 1 times 2 is 2. And so then I have an improper fraction that I need to simplify. So my answer should be a negative 42. S is equal to a negative 42, which is B. Okay. For number 7, make sure I can get all that on one. Let me zoom out. Okay. Which of the following represents the solution set to 1.5x minus 9 is less than or equal to negative 6? So I'm going to solve right here. My constant is 9, so I'm going to add 9 to both sides. That gives me negative 1.5x is less than or equal to negative 6 and positive 9. So if I do my scoreboard over here, my positives would have 9, my negatives would have 6. My positives would win by how many? 9 minus 6 is 3. Okay, so now I have 1.5x is less than or equal to 3. I'm going to divide each side by a negative 1.5. That means my inequality symbol is going to switch. So I have x is greater than or equal to 3 divided by a negative 1.5 is going to be a negative 2. So I'm looking to graph x is greater than or equal to negative 2. Okay, x is greater than or equal to negative 2. Because it is greater than or equal to, I know that when I graph it, it's going to get a closed symbol because that negative 2 is included in my solution. So if that is true, it cannot be C and it cannot be D because those are both open circles, which means that negative 2 is not included. So let's look at A and let's look at B. X is greater than or equal to negative 2. Well, this one's on negative 2, but it's going to the left. Okay, so that's everything smaller than negative 2. We need everything greater than negative 2, so the direction of our arrow should be going to the right. So the correct answer for this one was B. Okay, remember you divided by a negative, so you had to flip that inequality symbol. It had to change directions. All right, guys, I'm sitting at about 12 minutes right now, so I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to have to make a second video. So let's look at number 8. Number 8 says the Price family decides they want to spend less than 300 minutes per week on screens. On Sunday, they watched a movie that was 84 minutes. If they want to spread the rest of their allotted screen time evenly over the next 6 days, how many minutes can they spend on the screen each day? So we're looking for the minutes each day. Okay? I know that we're going to spend less than 300 minutes. Less than 300. I also know that one movie they watched was 84 minutes. So we already have that. That's a constant. That's an initial value. Plus, over the next 6 days, I need to figure out what this x is right here. That represents the minutes each day. Okay, I could have also written 6x plus 84 is less than 300. Either of those would have worked. Okay, so now we're going to set up our inequality. We are going to undo our constant first, so we're going to subtract 84 on both sides. That leaves us with 6x is less than 216. I'm going to divide each side by 6, and it will be x is less than 36. And that should be answer choice C. Okay, so I'm sitting at 13 minutes. My video can only be 15 minutes long. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and pause this one, and there will be a part 2.